I want to welcome everyone again to our session today on networking and neurodivergence. Thank you very much for joining. We're excited to have you. And we're going to tell you a little bit about Lyme Connect, what we do, the resources that we offer, as well as how to prepare for networking as someone who is neurodivergent. My name is Kelsey, the Relationship Manager for Lyme Connect in Canada. I'm a white woman with short, curly, graying hair, green eyes. I'm wearing glasses. I have a navy top and a navy and white scarf on today. And I will be presenting the first part of the session, and my colleague, Jenn Grauso, our Director of Engagement, will be presenting the last part of our session. So you may already see closed captioning on your screen, but if not, you can enable it by clicking on your toolbar. You should also be able to see that we have ASL interpreters available for today. Just a reminder, if anyone needs the captioning in a different language, that's an option as well. We will be recording today's session in case any of you miss it or want to go back and refer to it again. And so we'll be sending that link out once the recording is ready. We encourage you to add questions to the chat or the Q&A throughout the session, and then we'll try to answer them as we go along. But if we don't get to them, we will have some time at the very end. So again, welcome, and let's get started. So who or what is Lyme? So we're a not-for-profit organization focused on rebranding disability through achievement. And we do that by attracting high-potential professionals and university students, which includes veterans, with a broad range of disabilities into our network. And what that entails is creating an account. You go to our website. I'll give you a little bit more information in a minute, but it is at no cost to you. And then once you become a member of our Lyme network, we help to prepare you with the essential tools and confidence to help you achieve your goals. We also connect you. So we connect you for opportunities such as scholarships, leadership programs, internship, co-op, and full-time careers with some of the world's leading corporations who happen to be our corporate partners. We also support our corporate partners in recruiting, onboarding, developing, retaining, and promoting employees who have disabilities. So together with our partners, we celebrate the strengths and talents of people with disabilities. So these are the partners that we currently have. So you can see we've got 3 partners who partner with us in North America, so across North America, US and Canada. And so they have access to all of our candidates, network members in both countries. We also have a group of partners that are specific to the US, and so they have access to our US network members, and then we have a group of partners that are specific to Canada, and they have access to our Canadian network members. But they're all companies highly committed to employing and supporting individuals with disabilities. So how do we go about doing what we do? So first of all, we attract people to our network. So we rely on universities, some professional and disability organizations to help promote what we do and encourage people who have disabilities to join the Lyme network. So again, the Lyme network, when we talk about disabilities, it's very broad. So it can include learning, mental health, neurodivergence. Both of those would fit into neurodivergence, but there can also be a lot of other types of disabilities, whether they're physical, chronic health, mobility. So there are many. And again, there is no fee to join as a network member. And once people have joined our network, then we help to prepare them for career opportunities. We host workshops and webinars with focused topics such as disclosure, which I'm sure you can imagine is very, very popular, and on topics such as preparing for networking, like our session today. We also have a career coach who can provide coaching for our network members. And then we have some leadership development programs, and that would include our Lion Ambassador program. So if anyone is interested in helping to promote what we do, please feel free to reach out. We're always looking for people to help us spread the word and support us in other ways. And then we connect people. So we connect people, our network members, to our corporate partners, but also to each other. So we host a number of networking receptions throughout the year in Canada and in the US, excuse me, both virtual and in person. And we also have an online community platform where people can connect with each other. So we have a forum where people can engage in conversations that are relevant, particularly to disability. You can also join our corporate partner groups. Each one of them has a community group that you can join, and you can access information about what opportunities or priorities they might have that they want to share. This is also where you will find job postings. So we scrape the roles from all of our partners' career sites on a daily basis. And so if you go to the Jobs and Programs tab, once you have created your account and are logged in, then you are able to access and search for and access all the job postings from all of the partners versus going to each one's career site individually. And again, what are we talking about when we're referring to disability? So the definition we use is that disability is a physical or mental condition that substantially limits one or more major life activities. So as I said, it's very broad. The one thing that we would like to encourage you to do if you have any type of a disability is to join the Lyme Network. It is at no cost to you, and that's how you can access all of our resources and programs that can support you, in particular in your search for career opportunities and ways to connect with employers. And so this is a screenshot of what it would look like if you have not already joined us. And I'm hoping that some of you have, or actually that a number of you have. But this is, if you go to our website, you'll see an icon that says join us in the top right-hand corner. If you click on that, it will bring you to this page. And so you would join as a person with a disability. So that's join the Lyme Network for PWD, that button. Complete your profile so you can provide as much information as you wish to. Of course, the more information you provide, especially that's relevant to career, so similar to applying for a job, the more information that we're able to share with our partners as they're looking to fill positions. We also ask that you acknowledge that you have a disability. We don't need you to provide any documentation to support that. And so once you've completed your profile and submitted, you'll get a confirmation email, and then you will have access to the community platform and to our resources. Again, at no cost. So as I'm thinking about preparing for networking, as I'm thinking about helping you prepare for networking, I think it's really important to consider your neurodivergence, whatever that might look like. I think all of us, it's important for all of us to know what our strengths are and to be able to highlight them, especially as we're looking for career opportunities. But I think as someone who is neurodivergent, I think it's particularly important to understand what your unique strengths are, and then be able to identify roles and seek the opportunities that you can really lean into based on your talents and skills. Also to recognize that your experience and perspective as someone who is neurodivergent is truly valued. And I'd just like to give you a very quick example. And so this is not relevant to work per se, but it just gives you an example of a unique perspective that solved a problem. So my son and I were trying to move my desk. I got a new desk. We were looking to move the old one downstairs. So it was one of those, older style desks with shelves at the top, and so we thought it wasn't too heavy, so we thought we would be able to just carry it down the stairs. Well, we got to the top of the stairs and realized that was absolutely not going to work. So we set it down and we had a look and thought, well, there will be, screws somewhere and we'll just be able to take the shelves off and carry it down in two pieces. Well, we probably looked for 20 minutes and we could not figure out how to get it apart. And I'm pretty sure that we brought it up in two pieces and put it together. But anyway, so my nephew came along. So he happens to be someone on the autism spectrum. And he looked at it for about 30 seconds and he said, "Oh, I see." He said, "It's here." He said, the shelves are attached to the desktop. And so you just have to unscrew the desktop. And so we looked and went, "Oh, okay." Sure enough. So, it took him 30 seconds to figure something out that we'd spent 20 minutes on. And so, he had a different way of looking at things. And so all that to say that, as someone who has a unique perspective, your ability to solve problems in a different way, or come up with solutions, is going to be valued at any company. It's also important to familiarize yourself with the support and accommodation options that can help you to be more productive and successful. We know that neurodivergent people have a number of unique strengths, and this would not be all encompassing. We also know for a fact that every person is not the same. So you all will all have unique strengths, not just because you're neurodivergent, but because you're individuals. But these are some examples. So analytical thinking, some people are extremely good at taking data, information, and making sense of it, pulling it together in a way that they can present, a solution to somebody, or just help them to better understand a situation. A number of people have lots of creativity, whether that's in solving problems or designing things. Pattern recognition. So some people are able to see data or information in a way that helps them to pick out things that are different, that aren't following the normal pattern, which could be a very valuable strength in fraud detection. Focus. So even though some people have difficulty with focus, they can also be almost hyper focused or hyper focused when it's something that they really have a passion for, or if they know that they really need to get something done within a specific time frame. They can really, block everything else out just to get whatever it is done. Big picture thinking. Some people, although they may not be so good about dealing with the fine details, they're very good at being able to look at things from a broad range of perspectives. Maybe able to look at things from a long timeline, and so that big picture thinking can be very valuable. Again, depending on the role, but also the situation, and something of great value. Intuition. So this is what I think of as when people are able to pick up clues from their environment, and assimilate it very quickly and come to an understanding of a situation. And so for people who have that ability, it's like it's almost instantaneous that they just know something, whereas others would take a lot of time to gather information and to try and figure something out. They may not be able to tell you how they know, but that's because they have that ability to to sort of almost through osmosis take in all the facts and the details that are going on that are relevant. So back to networking. So what is the purpose? So it's not the same as interviewing, but there are some similarities in that it's two ways. So you get to learn something about the person or the company as as they get to know something or learn something about you. So the purpose of networking is really to help you find job leads. It could lead to an interview, you don't know, or to tap into the hidden job market. And so what is that? Well, often an organization has jobs that come up on a regular basis, even though they're not posted, or it could be a job that somebody is aware that's going to be coming up, but again, it's not yet posted. And if in your conversation, you're able to share that you have the right skills, the right experience, you make a favorable impression, then they would keep you in mind. And so when that job position comes up, they might say, I met Jenn Grauso and she'd be the perfect director of engagement for Lime Connect. So, so just an example. It's also an opportunity, or I should say the purpose is to learn about an industry, an organization, what your potential career path could be, a particular location, um, to to help you gather advice for your career or job search. So it's a way to tap into the knowledge and experience of other people, and to strengthen your network of advisors and mentors. So you may have a conversation with someone, and you click with them. You find some common ground, and so it might be someone that could provide an informal mentorship for you. What's really important is to prepare, because we know that preparation and practice will make people so much better at whatever it is that they're trying to do. So you want to prepare your introduction, you want to do some research, you want to prepare some questions to ask of the company representatives, you always want to present your best self and be able to follow up after. So the introduction. So this is a way for you to really distinguish yourself, or to differentiate yourself. So you want to provide a story that someone can remember, but you also want to be able to do it in a way that is concise, because you don't have a lot of time. You want to provide accurate information, and if you're focused on particular positions, you want to be able to talk about that, and really get the conversation started. So it's important to determine what it is that you're looking for. So you may have an interest in more than one position, which is fine. But when you're talking to a company, or at least you should be able to identify what that position is, or at least the area within which you're interested in working. Maybe if it's a finance position, it doesn't matter specifically what the industry is, but you would want to be able to talk about why you're interested in that, and why you would be good at it. You'll also want to prepare a written version that you can copy into a chat, and the reason for that is both of the events that are coming up in Canada and the US are going to be virtual, and a lot of events are virtual. So if you've already got them in a written version, then all you have to do is copy and paste. It'll save you a lot of time. You may have to tweak it a little bit depending on the situation or who you're talking to, but if you've got the basis, you've already saved yourself some time. And just remember that the verbal introduction should be short, so about a minute. So again, back to why it needs to be concise. You need to be able to get across what you want to say in a short period of time. So I'm going to give you an example. So first of all, you're going to introduce yourself. So who are you? So make sure you give your name and a little bit of information about yourself. So, hi, I'm Maria Rosales. I'm a sophomore at NYU studying marketing and computer science. Or I have recent experience working in finance, doing, as an analyst or whatever it might be. Second of all, you want to state your objective. So you want to let them know if you have a specific interest. And as I said, you may have more than one, but it's better to really narrow it down, particularly for these conversations, just as you would in your resume. You want to focus your information on the type of job or the position that you're looking to apply for. And again, you may have to massage it or tweak it a bit depending on who you're having the conversation with. So again, an example: I'm looking for social media internships and saw the announcement for a social media intern at your organization, so wanted to reach out to you. Or, I'm happy to connect with you, and again, I'm looking for a social media internship. Step 3, share your accomplishments and skills. So this is an opportunity for you to do a little bragging. And you want to let them know, not, you don't want to go through the last 2 years of your work history or your school history, everything that you've accomplished, but you want to pick out a couple that you really highlight your skills, and support your career objectives. So I currently serve as the social media manager for 2 campus organizations. Since taking over, I have more than doubled the number of posts through Twitter and Facebook and increased the number of followers by over 25% for each club. So, somebody's going to go, oh, that's pretty impressive. So, I'm definitely going to keep that person in mind. Or, we already have a job, and I'm going to encourage them to apply. Or I'm going to refer them to my colleague who's recruiting for that position. Step 4, prepare some questions, and prepare them for each organization that you're looking to connect with or potentially apply for jobs with. Could you tell me a bit more about how social media plays into Sony's marketing plans? Now, you could replace Sony with CIBC, or you could replace it with J&J, or but if marketing is where your interests are, it would still apply. Or could you tell me a bit more about your opportunities for undergraduates? So that's certainly more general. But again, if if you're a little less certain about exactly what you're looking for, then and if you know that it's in marketing, maybe they have some specific opportunities for undergrads. It's important to do some research. So nobody expects you to be an expert in an industry, or a field, unless it's very unique. And then maybe in some cases they would expect more expertise. But generally speaking, what you should know are the basics of the organization. So what kind of services, products they offer, who is their competition, what types of positions do they have available, or do they typically have? For example, if you were talking to someone from OMERS, and a lot of you may not know what OMERS is or who OMERS is, but it would be important for you to have done enough research to know that they manage a defined benefit pension plan for the Ontario municipal employees. And so, it's not hard to find that information. So that's the kind of information would be important for you to know. If you have an opportunity or the time to read some articles about the industry, so you're familiar with the trends. But again, you don't have to be an expert, but having some knowledge is important, and it will help to impress whoever you're speaking with, that you truly do have an interest. And here are some of the do's. So you want to review opportunities at the partner that might interest you. So, take a look. You can, if you are already a network member, you can log in and take a look at whatever areas you're interested in, and they should all pop up, depending on which country you're in, and an active network member for. If you haven't, here's your opportunity to join. Or, if you're still not sure, you can go to individual career sites. You always want to dress professionally and use professional language. So even though an event is virtual, there is always the option to switch to a video chat. So ours start off as text, but so you want to take the opportunity to make a favorable impression. So you want to look professional, and you always want to use professional language, regardless of whether it's text or audio or video. Jenn is going to provide more information about the actual platform, but just a reminder that ahead of the event, it's a really good idea to log in and test your settings. So Radiancy is the platform that we use. Be mindful of the setting and the lighting. So you want to be in a place that you can focus, that it's not too noisy, not too distracting. And the lighting, especially if you're going to switch to video, can make a difference in how you're viewed. And it's also a good idea to keep notes and to be able to gather the contact information for anyone that you connect with. We do not typically provide contact information for our partners. That's up to you to gather as you're connecting with them, and you can find out from them how is the best way to follow up with them. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Jenn.
Hey, Karen. Thank you, and hello, everyone. As Karen mentioned, my name is Jenn Grauso. As a quick visual description, I am a white woman with long, dark hair, and today I am wearing a gray turtleneck. I know it is April, but it is still quite cold in New York. So as Karen mentioned, and has prepared you for some of these networking tips and skills, we want to just show you the calendar of events. And so we had the US calendar up, and this as well as the event calendar for, oh, that's okay. These are some of the events for the US. We do have a virtual networking event specific for neurodivergent candidates. That is in May 14th in the US. And then as you see on the screen, we have events in September for students, and then we have events in October for professionals. So we do serve students and professionals, depending on where you might fit into that. And now on screen is the list of events for Canada, and the Canadian neurodiverse reception is on April 22nd. So that is coming up quite soon. And we hope that this session will help prepare you for that. And then there are also, there's another virtual event in May for Canada, and some in-person events. Our fireside chat is coming up in Canada on May 27th. And then again, we pick up in September and November for some more events. All of this is listed on our platform and our website. So if these are opportunities of interest to you, you don't need to worry about writing them down now. You can certainly visit our website or join our network, and you can see these events on our platform. So as Karen mentioned, our virtual events are run in a platform called Radiancy. We have been using them for several years, and they are definitely one of the better platforms that we have seen for virtual networking receptions. And we're going to walk you through a few things, but let me just talk about the basics first. So we would provide you the link once you are approved to attend the event. We would provide you the link to the Radiancy platform. You would then you would click that link, and you would go in and set up your profile. It would be great if you attach a copy of your resume, because in the platform, when a representative is meeting with you, your resume pops up next to your picture. So it would be wonderful if you had your resume in there, and then they could be looking at your resume while they are speaking with you. If you include your cell phone number as part of your profile, then the Radency platform can text you updates about the event or just remind you that the event is coming up. If you do not provide your cell phone, then you will receive emails from Radency. And that is how you will know that the event is coming up. You can review the partner booths. So again, we're going to show you a screenshot of what that looks like in a moment, but each partner will have their own booth, and that will tell you which partner company it is and then who is in attendance at this event. Some of our partners are not able to attend all events, so it is important that you take a look at which partners are joining us at which event. And then also, if you benefit from closed captions, there are a couple of things. First, you can use Chrome, which is the recommended browser for Radency. However, Radency has recently made some upgrades and improvements to their site. So I do believe that there is now a feature for closed caption in their site directly without having to use Chrome. But I have not tested that out myself. So Chrome is still the safest bet, but we will see. So generally speaking, and for the neurodiverse receptions, you would join at 5:30 Eastern time. So 5:30 p.m. Eastern time is when the event would begin. And those events are 2 hours long. It is best to join at the beginning because partners will have a line. The more network members that join, the more the line, or the longer the line will be for each partner. So if you join in at 6:30, which is an hour into the event, then you may be at the back of a very long line at that point. So it is always better to join right away on time at 5:30. However, things come up and you are still welcome to join, even if you are a bit late. The partner booths will be on the home screen. You can click on each booth and select to chat with a representative. Once you click on the select to chat, you will go into the queue. So you will go into line for that partner. And when the representative is available, you will be invited to chat. The invitation to chat will pop up. So even if you are in a different booth at the time, or you are researching or looking at what the other booths are, you should be indicated that the pop-up will be there to tell you that you are now being invited to chat with a representative. You can join multiple queues or multiple lines at the same time, and you can revisit partner booths. So even if you finish with one partner, you are still able to revisit their booth if there was some other information that you wanted to see. The session would start as a text. So the first thing that you will see is a text box. So it would be great, as Karen mentioned earlier, to have an intro ready, your name, your major or your university, a basic hello to introduce yourself so that you get the conversation started. And then it is up to the partner if they would like to start a video. Some partners many do choose to start their video, and then others may not if they are chatting with multiple candidates at the same time. So it really depends on the partner and how much they are able to connect and utilize that system. And we do also have, I will say, we have a couple of partners where the video is not accessible at their employer. So we have a couple in the US anyhow, we have a couple of partners that are unable to use the video chat simply because of their employer. It is like a blocked feature. So they may only use text chat in that case. And for our neurodivergent events, we set the chat time to 10 minutes. Some of our other events, the chat time is set to around 8 minutes, but for the neurodivergent events, we give a little bit of extra time. And partners are able, if they have the ability and if they have the time, they are able to extend, but it's short. It gives about another minute only. So please know, again, as Karen was saying, this is networking. And so the idea is you will follow up with these folks later on. So you want to make the most of that 8 to 10 minute time frame that you have. So a little bit about how the platform works, and on the screen are visuals. Step one, you log into Radency through the link that you are sent in your invitation. So on the screen is the welcome page, and it says the name of the event, Lyme Connect Virtual Recruitment Reception for Neurodivergent Candidates. And there would be a button at the bottom that says sign up or sign in or join. And that is where you would click that to go ahead and enter the event. Once you are registered and you have your Radency all set up, then you will see the event. So on screen now is the date of the event. This is last year's event date, but it is the same for this year. It would say the date, May 15th, 5:30 to 7:30. And then there's a button in red that says enter event. So after you register, you may register and log in today, but the event is not until April. So then you would go back, and this is what you would see when you go back to log in on the day of the event, this enter event button. So you would click that. A welcome video will pop up first. So this is a YouTube video, which you can click the YouTube button in the middle of the screen to watch this video. Or if you prefer, you can close this and watch it later. This is a welcome video from one of our network members and just talks a little bit about who we are and how we operate during our networking events. So it's not required that you watch this. If you need to get right into the event, then you can certainly close this and go back and watch it later. And this is a sample of the lobby. So on the screen now, it says lobby. This is the Radency platform. Lyme Connect will always have a help desk booth. That is one of us, Karen, myself, or some of our other Lyme team members will be in there to help with things like making sure your video is working, making sure that you feel comfortable. If you have any last minute questions, you can always hop into the Lyme help desk booth if you're having any technical issues, whatever it might be. Then you will see the partner booths. This was a US event, this screenshot. So we have on screen Bloomberg, Citi, EY, Goldman Sachs, Google. This is just a sample. There is a scroll, so you would be able to scroll down to see all of the other partners that are here as well. The partners that you see on your screen are signed up and meant to be at the event. We generally would not have a booth for a partner that could not attend unless they were doing a content booth, and that would be clearly labeled as a partner content only booth. So here you can see on the screen that there is the option to see how many folks are waiting to chat, how many representatives are in the booth, so that you have an idea before you enter that booth how many folks are already in line ahead of me and how many representatives are there. And for example, the EY booth says waiting to chat 18. So there's already 18 folks on that line. Representatives, 4 of 6. So you know that there are currently 4 representatives online and active. So that's not too bad. With 18 folks, but there's 4 representatives, they might be able to get through them relatively quickly, and that's probably a line I would definitely sign up for. The Goldman Sachs booth says waiting to chat 19, so a little bit more, 19, representatives 0 of 2. So that means the Goldman representatives are not yet here at the event. And so in that case, if you ever have a question, you can pop into the Lime booth and ask us what happened. And maybe it's as simple as the event just started, they're not here yet. Give them a couple of minutes to adjust or to get their technology working. Or maybe something came up and we'd be able to tell you that something came up and unfortunately they're unable to join for whatever reason. So it's good that you have this access and ability to see who's in line and as well as which representatives or the fact that there are representatives in the booth. And so here, if you want to search for a booth, if you are not finding what you are looking for or which partner you're looking for, you can use the search button and you can search for a booth. You can put in the partner name to see what may pop up. So that is another feature if for some reason you are not finding the partner booth that you are looking for. And this step of the platform, as you enter the booth, you can read about the company. And again, you can see your spot in line. So here we have IBM on the screen, and there is a blurb underneath talking about IBM being a proud partner of Lime Connect. And then it says, are you ready to chat? You can click the chat button. And so then there would be a button that you would be able to click to chat. The other thing on this screen, there is home, which is this page that we are on now. There is also a tab that says about us. Some partners also use a tab that says opportunities. So again, you want to explore the full booth for every partner in order to see what else they have populated within their booth. Some partners put videos. So some folks and some partners are able to have a more robust booth, and then some partners put basic information and they will talk to you more about their opportunities when they meet with you. So in this case, again, I'll just point out that you can see your spot in line is number 17 and that the average chat was around 7 minutes. So you sort of know what to expect. As you begin your chat, what is on screen now is a text box. So again, as I mentioned before, it starts out as text before you get to a video chat. So in this case, it starts out as text and you would want to say hello. It will tell you who you are chatting with. So in this case, it says you are chatting with Marie at the Acme team. Sorry, it's a little small. I'm trying to read it off the screen. But it will tell you who you're chatting with. So then you might start by saying hello, unless they start first. In this case, Marie started by saying, hi, Sam. And then Sam said, hi, Marie. Can you tell me a little bit more, about your background? So you might start, or the representative might start. However it works, you want to say hello, and then maybe just start with a little bit about yourself. And so then if the partner representative chooses, they may turn the video on. So now on screen is an example of what the video would look like. And so be prepared, as Karen was saying, you want to make sure that your background is clear, that you are dressed professionally, that when the video goes live, you don't feel surprised because that is a feature of the platform. And there are now the ability to have a virtual background in Radency. So you can set that up in advance in your profile and have a virtual background if you prefer not to have whatever is behind you in the room that you were in at that time. And so this is what it would look like for the virtual chat. Then when the chat ends, you can access a written transcript if you were texting with or text chatting with the contact. You can still access that information, which would be great for you to send a thank you note to the person. So you will be able to see who you chatted with, the details of who you chatted with, any text that you all wrote back and forth to each other, and you can then follow up and maybe connect with them on LinkedIn, or if they had given you their email, email them, but certainly send a nice note on LinkedIn saying it was nice to meet you at this event and to stay connected. So again, some accommodations in this virtual setting. We have extended the time to a 10-minute time frame to allow more time for folks. There is the captions option, which is through Chrome or through the Readency platform. The screen readers are accessible in Readency for the most part. I don't know every screen reader that folks may use, so there may be some that if you have any issue during the event, the best thing to do is to come into the Lyme help booth so that we can connect you with the Readency tech team. There is a Readency technology team on hand live during our events, and we are able to email or text chat with them. You are able to as well. So you could always use the help button, which would be on the main screen, or you can connect with us at Lyme and we will get you connected to the Readency help folks. Because if you have any issues, we certainly want to let them know and have them help you throughout the event. Other accommodations, text is available versus video. So if you prefer, or it is a preferable method for you to text versus having a video chat, that is available. There are additional enhancements. Readency is undergoing a huge accessibility overhaul this year, so there will be other enhancements. If things are not perfect in our April or May events, check back by September, because there are enhancements that they are working on and they are updating us about it all the time. And feedback is welcome. So again, we want to know about your experience. At the end of an event, you do get a survey. Please feel free to fill out the survey, or please email Karen or myself, depending on your country. This way we can connect with our Readency contact and give them any and all of your feedback for their future enhancements. And so certainly you want to prepare and practice. As Karen mentioned before, we have a career coach. On screen is a picture of our career coach, Daisy. She is wonderful and she has appointments. She allows for even more appointments as we are leading up to certain events, so that you have the ability to practice with her. You can book a networking prep 10-minute session. She also has longer sessions if you have an interview and need an interview session. So it really depends on what you have coming up, and you would access this link inside our platform. So you do need to be logged in as a network member, a person with disability. And once you are logged in to our network, then you can click on the coaching tab and you will be able to see Daisy's calendar and schedule an appointment with her. Right. I think those are all of our slides. So we will look at some of the questions. I was answering a few before that were easy enough to type the answer in, but I think that there are a few in there, Karen, that might need a little bit of a bigger explanation. Can you see the questions, or do you want me to read them?
Yeah, I can see. I'm looking in the Q&A first.
Yes.
Non-work related questions.
Yeah, so one of the questions says, any tips to manage asking non-work related questions, or just, I guess, more of a personal conversation?
Mm,
One thought that I have is, again, remember in these networking settings, you really are there for professional experience, not necessarily personal. So personal, I know it says personable, but I'm just thinking personal questions are certainly not appropriate for this sort of setting. But, things can come up, and sometimes you just bring something up. I'll give you just a quick example. I had a colleague who was talking to a network member and said something about their parents being in Norway. And the network member said, "Oh, isn't that interesting? I'm from there. Where are they?" So that was a direct connection that my colleague never expected. She just brought up that her parents were in Norway and didn't know that the network member would have any connection to Norway. So sometimes you just bring something up, like an interest of yours, a food you like, something that the hobby that is of interest to you, and you could make a connection you didn't even realize was going to be there with someone that you're networking with. So that is certainly allowed as well if you're just talking about other things that come up that are not always work related. It is nice to have a balance, as the question says.
yeah, I was going to say that the same that often if you're going to ask or even talk about something outside of focusing on career, yeah, an interest or a hobby. I know I've had many conversations. I used to be an avid runner. I still run, but not as much. But I've had many conversations about that or other, other types of sort of sporting activities that people have an interest in. So, whatever your interests are, and actually sometimes that's a really good way to make a connection and remember somebody because you have something in common. Okay, so the next question I will actually read out loud. So, hello. Do you provide any networking events for healthcare or medical divisions? And I would say not specifically, but Johnson and Johnson certainly is in the healthcare industry, and so I'm sure that they would have lab research opportunities. Jen, you'd be even more familiar with them.
Yes, yes. So right now, Johnson and Johnson is our main corporate partner in medical area, and they have many lab research, healthcare opportunities, and they are expanding. And actually, they just became a North American partner. So initially, they were U.S. only, and now they are U.S. and Canada. So they are a partner for anyone listening today who becomes a network member. And so they are right now our main partner, but we are always looking and interested in possibly bringing on other additional partners. So again, we appreciate your feedback. If there are other organizations we should look at and consider for partnering, you can certainly email us. But currently, Johnson and Johnson would be the best current option for you. Let's see. How does the networking apply to recently graduated students? Does the event consider students currently attending even after they graduate? Yeah, so our events, uh, generally, we will be very clear about who the event is for. Some events are for students and professionals. Some events are just for students, and it will say that. Some events are in the US, we do events by industry as well. So, like students in finance and business, students in marketing. That's in the fall more so. And so that will be part of the name of the event. However, the neurodivergent events are for all candidates. So it is for students and professionals who are neurodivergent.
Yeah, and I would say the same. We often include newly graduated students with our student event, but we also, so it depends on when you say new, how new that is, how recent it is. But sometimes we include them with our professional events. So as Jenn said, it'll say in the description who the target candidates are. And then the next question is about the Johnson and Johnson scholarship, and I actually don't know when the Limelight video contest is finished, so that won't start again, I think, until the fall. And the Leadership and Disability Award, I think that's in this sometime this spring, isn't it, Jen?
Actually, the Tom Wilson Award should be open. It should have opened
Is it
April
open now?
1st. I
Okay.
thought it opened April 1st, the Tom Wilson Leadership Application Award. But yes, Johnson and Johnson is currently set for August timeframe. So again, I say August timeframe. I'm not sure exactly when. They will let us know exactly when. When the scholarship is tied to a partner, the partner lets us know when they would like us to open it. So the Johnson and Johnson should open late summer, early fall. The Limelight that should open in fall as well, August, September. So those two should be around the same time. But I do believe Tom Wilson should be open or opened. It says closed. I'm not sure. I'll have to double check. But we at our fireside chat the other day, we talked about how the application just opened. So I assumed it was open. But if it's not open now, it will be soon. So do check back about the Tom Wilson.
Uh, I'm just seeing we're almost out of time here. So I
Yes.
think the one other question that people might want to know are virtual events geographically restricted? And the answer is typically yes. So if you are in the US, you can attend a US, even though you may be anywhere. If you're a US network member, you would be able to attend US events. If you're a Canadian network member, you would be able to attend Canadian network events. And if you think there's a reason why you should have an exception, you need to reach out to us. So that's what I would say to that. Um, the ambassador program, just again, I'll just quickly say that it's a program for people to promote what we do, to support what we do. So sometimes at an information session, we would have a network member share their own personal story or their connection with us, how they've benefited. They've attended events with us and helped, they could be helping with wayfinding or helping people become more comfortable at an event. But a lot of it is also about promotion. And so if you are keen, you can reach out to either Jen or I, because one of our colleagues actually manages the program, and I'm sure she would be happy to talk to you. Was there anything else that we...
Just as for further questions, who can we contact? So for further questions,
Mhm.
honestly, it depends on what your question is about. We have someone who works on scholarships. Karen and I work on the receptions and working with our corporate partners. We have someone who works in the area of professional development. We have our career coach. So honestly, our website is probably the best place to go just to see who is it or what is it that your question is about. And we do have several general email inboxes as well. So you could always start with info. There's info at limeconnect.com. That's our general info mailbox. We have a recruiting mailbox. So we have general mailboxes as well, but all of that is on our website. And certainly you reach out to anyone. We are a close team. If I'm not the right person, I will certainly forward your email along to the person who is correct. So there's no wrong way to reach us.
Right. That's right. So we're at time. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you to our ASL interpreters for being here to support us. As Jenn said, there are many ways you can reach out if you have additional questions. I really hope that you will take advantage of the opportunities for networking to practice now that you've got the tips, whether you're in Canada or in the US. And so we look forward to connecting with you. If you're already a network member, continue to take advantage of our resources. And if you're not, we hope that you will join.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.